Hello, my name is Jo Kennedy. I work for Lancashire Wildlife Trust and I'm the coordinator for the Great Manchester Wetlands Partnership, and I'm going to take you through a brief history of Great Manchester Wetlands. The Great Manchester Wetlands Partnership is a collaboration of local authorities, statutory organisations, charities, higher education establishments and private companies who, together, are seeking to transform the natural landscape between Greater Manchester and Merseyside. By 2025, we want there to be a thriving, resilient and inspirational, interconnected living landscape that delivers real benefits to local communities and the local economy. We are aiming to create a Great Manchester Wetlands nature recovery network. The Great Manchester, or GM, Wetlands is on a landscape scale, covering over 400 square kilometres, including Wigan and much of Salford, Bolton, Trafford and Warrington. This unique landscape of peatlands, former coalfields and brownfield sites, whose natural resources have been exploited since Roman times and fueled the Industrial Revolution and urban growth, is now a complex of diverse wetlands and woodlands with important habitats such as fen, reedbed, lowland raised bog, wet woodland, ponds, open waters, rivers and streams. GM Wetlands provides a wildlife refuge between two city regions containing nationally and internationally important habitats and species on the doorsteps of millions. But it is under threat and needs help to thrive and realise the benefits it can bring. Fragmentation, making wild spaces smaller and disconnected from each other, of habitat by roads, railways and development, makes populations of animals vulnerable as they cannot move through the landscape in response to pressures such as climate change, disturbance or pollution, and their population size cannot expand. It also leaves habitats such as raised bogs more affected by neighbouring activity such as drainage and unable to fully deliver the ecosystem services that these natural areas are capable of, such as capturing carbon or reducing flood risk. So, the solution is to connect up the landscape. Our approach is in line with the objectives of nature recovery networks as proposed in the new Environment Bill and based on the highly influential 2010 Lawton report, Making Space for Nature. This set out the concept of improving the resilience of wildlife through increasing the quality, quantity and connectedness of habitats. Restoring sites, providing buffer zones around them, creating wildlife corridors and stepping stones to join them up. Nature Improvement Areas, or NIAs, were proposed and subsequently were incorporated into national planning policy. This milestone prompted the creation of the GM Wetlands Partnership and Nature Improvement Area in 2011. But it didn't come out of thin air. A whole host of studies, research, collaborative pieces of work and reports had identified the potential for such a wetland network and had established the will and ambition to make it a reality among key regional organisations. The GM Wetlands Partnership was set up in 2011, originally to bid for the government's Nature Improvement Area funding, but it now has 22 partners across many sectors supporting its aims. Our aims are all about improving the quality of habitats, improving species mobility, enhancing the nature network of the area, and realising the benefits for society and the economy of a healthy natural landscape. So, to recap on our brief history, Although the original bid for funding for the NIA was not successful, the partnership was determined to press ahead and in 2013 achieved local NIA status from Greater Manchester and Cheshire's local nature partnerships. Partners were continuing to deliver important improvements, and we set our sights on increasing our impact through developing a lottery-funded landscape partnership scheme, the Carbon Landscape. This was successful, and the 5-year, over £3 million programme started in 2017, delivering 22 projects through 14 partners. In 2018, we also started work on another partnership-wide programme, the Species Recovery Project. So far, we are on track to have delivered well over £8 million worth of investment in the GM wetlands for the benefit of local communities. The Carbon Landscape was the first major partnership delivery project of the GM Wetlands, incorporating the industrial and natural heritage of the area with inspiring and connecting local communities to their landscape. Underlying it is the aim to improve the landscape to the benefit of the millions of people who live in and around it, while celebrating the richness of its heritage. So why is it a carbon landscape? The landscape characterisation identified this as a carbon landscape, not just in terms of the underlying geology and evolution of the landscape, but also in terms of the industrial and cultural heritage and of the ability of this landscape to adapt to mitigate against climate change. 3 landscape types were identified for inclusion: the Flashes, the Mosslands and the Mersey Wetlands corridor. Addressing the legacy in the landscape. The carbon resources of the region helped fuel the Industrial Revolution from the late 18th century, and extractive industries continued right through the 19th and 20th centuries. While this provided economic benefits for the country, it left our area with a difficult legacy. By the 60s and 70s, the GM Wetlands area was faced with historic issues of water pollution, destruction and fragmentation of habitat, dereliction of sites, toxic spoil heaps and social deprivation through the loss of industry and jobs. It seems almost unbelievable today that green sites with flourishing nature emerged from this industrialised landscape. Sites such as Risley Moss in Warrington, a rare lowland raised bog, are now part of the Manchester Mosses Special Area of Conservation, had previously had peat extracted from it and was the site of an explosives factory in World War II. But by the 1970s there was recognition that people needed to repair the damage done, and the shoots of recovery appeared. While there is much still to do, great improvement has been made already with programmes such as Wigan's Green Heart. In preparing for the Carbon Landscape programme, the need for landscape join-up and wider restoration was recognised to maximise not only biodiversity value, but value as a community asset for access, recreation and well-being. A study of community engagement found that making biodiversity improvements in the landscape and linking these to the heritage of the Industrial Revolution that has shaped the landscape could offer an opportunity to engage with community members, schools and local businesses about ecological improvement and sustainable ways of working. Today's Carbon Landscape programme is delivering 22 projects with 14 partners to achieve the restoration of a derelict landscape, ensuring connectivity and resilience in an area facing significant threats, and improved access and use of the landscape, reconnecting people with the landscape through access, learning and volunteering opportunities, and better understanding of the landscape to instil pride and engender community ownership in our carbon landscape, providing skills for local people, groups and beneficiaries to become custodians for our future. GM wetlands and carbon landscape are a positive force for the future. Together they are working for positive change for biodiversity, climate change, communities, heritage, health and well-being and the local economy. They are helping change the image of historically damaged and deprived communities, standing up for rare, threatened and internationally valued habitats and species. They are a special landscape on the doorstep of millions, helping people to benefit from it and access it. They're transforming liabilities into assets, involving all parts of society and influencing widely. Above all, they are addressing the key issues to today's society of climate change and nature depletion, helping people and nature to be more resilient to future challenges.